Okay, should I start, Rafique? Starting now. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the first ever webinar organized under the banner of IEEE Karachi section, Student Activities Committee 2020-2021. This is me, Aisha Said, serving as the WE coordinator as well as the newsletter coordinator for the team. We are honored to have engineer Adnan Rafique with us, who is a cloud security leader, an entrepreneur, an IT coach, and most of all, he also entails the title of an IEEE awardee in 2007. Today, he will be delivering a webinar entitled Experiencing IEEE along with top 7 emerging technologies and cloud computing. Apart from such an informative webinar, I would be honored to share his achievements with you all. Engineer Adnan Rafique is a Pakistani born residing in USA. He pursued his master's degree in technology management from Georgetown University. He has more than 20 years of experience in the field of IT and has worked for top Fortune 50 companies. He has been awarded by IEEE as the Best Speaker of the Year in 2007 and by British Computer Society, Microsoft, NPA, etc. multiple times for his contribution to IT community. He has delivered quite many speeches at international technical conferences throughout the year. He is a technical leader, mentor, and a coach. By profession, he is into cloud security for a Fortune 500 company. He is on a mission to encourage the youth of Pakistan to build their career, and he himself is present here to give career direction to all those youngsters who wish to avail the unlimited opportunities available to them. Now we welcome him on behalf of IEEE Karachi section and request all participants to please maintain the decorum and kindly keep your mics muted and videos off. Moreover, you will be allowed to ask questions once he has completed delivering the content. You can also send in your questions or messages in the chat along with your name so that one of our members can easily forward your question without any disturbance. Without any delay, I welcome Engineer Adnan Rafique to kindly begin with your talk. The platform is all yours, sir.
My pleasure. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So thanks for giving me this opportunity. And I'm excited. And I was in Pakistan or speaking different conferences. So it's an opportunity for me to speak to the future leaders. That's what I call them. And yeah, it's always a pleasure speaking, especially on the IEEE platform. On top of that, so I will go through this, but also um, just to give an idea before we go into the seminar and also IEEE. So I want to set some expectation. So from this seminar, my goal is, okay, first, this seminar or webinar is for you guys. Second, I want to make sure you get the most out of it. So we'll go through this, and in the end, there will be some allocated time for Q&A. But during that time, I may be asking some questions, so kind of know my audience and where you at during this webinar. So I kind of put that interactive thing, but again, at the same time, I want to make sure, we keep going in a good way, good manner, and make sure everyone get the most out of it. Yeah, a little bit about myself. The reason I don't like to explain myself, but the reason is, you need to know the person who is speaking, the person who has authorities to speak. Why should you listen to a speaker? Why should you listen to someone like me? Nobody knows me, right? So that's why I kind of give some of those credentials. Hey, that's what I've been doing it, and this is where doing some stuff. I found myself doing stuff successful, because it's not easy to moving from a country to another country, and you go to the market where you have to work with international competitions, totally a different ball game. Okay, so that's a challenge itself. So and that's why we have this topic for emerging technologies, why it is matter, why it's important, what should you be doing it, in what level of career, how you can exceed, how you can go. These are really important topics, and when you're in university, college especially, every student I meet here, or I've been talking 3-4 months in Pakistan, the feedback is pretty much is like, okay, they're circling around, moving, it's like a roundabout, and they need directions. So I'll do a little effort to help you, guide you in the right direction. So let me just go back so we can go from. So that's the topic for today. Top emerging technologies. We'll see that. We'll try to cover high level on some of them. Some of them I'll go more deep, and then we see, because it's not a scripted presentation, so I'll be just going through my experience and everything, what I do. That's the agenda. I'm sure I won't be able to cover it within an hour or so, but I'll try my best. But still, emerging technologies and why it's related to cloud and all that stuff we're going to talk about. But especially, I would not be missing the job opportunities. So you'll see consistently whenever I'm picking those topics, I'll be exploring more related to the job, because that's what it matters the most. A little bit about myself. The slide deck will be available. You can go check. Something I don't like to show, but again, as I said, a month or 2 months ago, I've been asked and I put together. So pretty much it has some stuff, maybe some missing, I don't know. But as you can see, IEEE, I would say, was the, so here we go back for 5 minutes. I don't want to be making very boring, but if we go back when I was doing my bachelor's from Sir Syed, and I've been always, I was one of those guys who missed the classes, and I was one of those guys who were in front row on some of the classes, because for me, it always, okay, the subject or the slave, whatever the topic or the subject, I would say, left if it was network security, so I would be in front rows because I loved it, talking about network. And there was parallel processing, I believe, so computer architecture. So I always like on the front rows. But whenever there is some uh, AND gate or gate, so I was like, okay, that's not my topic. So either I'll be going, arriving late in the morning or outside. That's a typical student does, right? So that's, I'm no special. So, but then I was like, okay, how do I, because going back like around 18, 20 years ago, I believe, internet was very expensive. And imagine the cost of internet you get that time, the dollar money and all that. So I was doing some math, and I believe it was used to be, from today's value, 500 rupees an hour. And I used to pay, and I used to use every month or every day. It was hell expensive. And then, so that's the reason was, okay, you use it, publish the website. I made first very website of University of Sir Syed. When we had the governor came in, I took the DSLR, published on the website right away before we got into the computer lab. So within 5 minutes it was up and running. So that was like, wow. Even governor was like, oh, wow, that's awesome. So what I'm talking about is a passion. You got to have passion, whatever you do. If you have a passion attached to it, no one can be, you're guaranteed you have a successful career. So you got to have that passion. You love what you're doing, you just keep doing it. You will get the result. Don't just keep doing it. So, and then you don't care about working hours, the weekends and all that. I'm not saying, but initial time of the career you have to do it, but then you find the work-life balance, which is also very important. By the way, if I'm going so fast, just let me know. Otherwise, I'll keep the same speed. Um, so then one of my seniors, they told me, hey, Adnan, you should look for IEEE. I said, I didn't know about IEEE. I was like in University College, maybe second year, I don't know. And I didn't really know much about it. And of course, then, okay, you make your mind. And then the biggest problem was that time, how do I pay with a credit card? But now it's pretty simple. So basically the membership and all that stuff, I think in the country, all these regions, pretty affordable, or I would say even cheap. But I'm not going to go into even how much does it cost and all that you can find your from IEEE guys, or I have the price. I'll just put it there, but always look for value. So what is the value? With IEEE, I was able to attend very first conference in Turkey, in Istanbul, back in 99, I believe, or 2000. And I was the youngest guy. I just went there to attend it, to understand how the international world works. I always had that fire, how people come and speak. I want to be there on the stage and speaking and all that. So how do I do that? So In Pakistan, there were no international conferences. So for me, the easiest way to go outside Pakistan at that time, Turkey, and then we always have halal, haram, food and stuff and all that. So I thought, okay, this is the best. I don't want to live on, do double roti and then just worked on it and there you go. So that was like unbelievable. Those things are in my memory. I still remember that. And then I started whenever they have a monthly subscription. So whatever the thing I read that time, it has already been implemented here. So if you want to be on top of the technology, if you want to be ahead of the world, IEEE research material has that information. If you want to looking for your career, or if you're starting your career, if you want to see, hey, where I want to be in 4 years and 5 years, because of all globalization, even in Pakistan, you get the remote jobs. But where the remote jobs going to be in the next couple of years? So what IEEE researcher and PhDs put in there, they put the future. So they're already telling you, hey, this is how the future is going to look like 5G and AI. Didn't we know it 10 years ago? We did. Now, if you started out making your skill set, you could have been meeting the demand of the job market and few skills, few guys. So that's how it is. Why it didn't happen and now why it's happening, that's what we're going to talk about. So that's the value. Plus, you can leverage IEEE for your speaking platform. So IEEE, when I went to Turkey, I couldn't. But right after my graduation, I did very first talk for IEEE at PAF-KIET. I still have a newspaper, Tasveer Jyoti. So it was from PTCL, and I was talking about internet highways that time. So I got a platform. See, so my very first speaking engagement, official speaking engagement was on IEEE platform. And then I can move on and on. And then, then I was in Dubai. I become a participant for British Computer Society, got a chartered IT member. So I was for both IEEE and all that. So I spoke to them in 2007 also, technology security. And I was a British chartered IT member as well. So especially in that areas, even UAE, Middle East and all that, these professional or these type of membership adds a lot of value, believe me. So let's move on. And this is just what they offer, core values and all that. That's all matter. So trust, global building and all that. I've pretty much done or gone through each of them. So think about it. I'm not here. It's just up to you. If you want to be taking that career or taking that path, it's for you. But if you're not that kind of person, it's up to you. So I'm not, but that's I'm telling from my first-hand experience. Okay, so CompTIA published it. And CompTIA, a very good resource, nonprofit, which do also have a ton of certifications available for starters and advanced level. And then you want to go further advanced level, then there are some other, but for somebody to start with, go take a look. But they publish it, and this is a non-profit, so they also have the data from government and all that stuff. So we all trust here, especially in US, is very known. And many students start their career with their certification. We'll come into that certification or not. I'll touch base on that. But if you're looking for a source, which is good source of information, good source of learning, go take a look, read their books. You don't initially even have to go for the certification, but you'll find all the fundamental top technologies available. They may not have AI certification. This is what I'm saying. They have a fundamentals. Career to Cloud. This is their journey. This is an infographic. I got it from the CompTIA, something I did not do it. So they put 10. So what I'm going to do is 7, because I think what I see today, 5 or 7, the immediate demand in the market. There could be some after 5 years, depending, I don't know. But what's the immediate need? So that's what we're going to talk about based on those technologies. Before we do that, very thing important to you, even I'm saying, but I never did it, but I realized, okay, what if I have spent 1 hour a month, I would say, just to read business news, where the market is going, Gartner research, Forrester research, ZDNet. Because if you look at this number, it would not make sense to you. But for me, that's the beauty. I can see where the market is going. So you have to build your vision and sight. How can you build that sight? The data I'm extracting from these 3 points. You may not be able to do it. I can predict, I can see, like, if the market is going, there will be enough jobs or no. I can say right in front, but you may not. So start learning, start reading those. You don't need much time, maybe 15 minutes a week, an hour. That's what you need. Uh, and everybody has a cell phone. Swipe it. It's free information available. So look at how Gartner is saying the investment is going from $18 billion to $331 billion, right? In just a matter of a couple of years. And I bet you this is from before COVID. Now, after COVID, things have changed. Every company I see, because that's what I do. Companies are coming in cloud every day. Our company is a place where we have ton of projects, ton of requirements. Stuff is coming. So COVID has not even slowed it down. It's gone fast. So your question would be, okay, how is it going to help us in Pakistan, right? Well, if the market, this is supply versus demand, right? Or other way around, demand versus supply. Yeah, so there's a huge demand and then less supply. So most of the jobs, then they get outsourced. So मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि नाई की जो जॉब होगी ना वो आउटसोर्स नहीं हो सकती, ओके? शेफ की जो जॉब है वो आउटसोर्स नहीं हो सकती. क्या बोलो किसी को रिमोट मुझे खाना बना दे, that's not going to happen. But these technical skills, they will be outsourced. So we'll look into that, what can be, what cannot be. But that's what I'm saying, so huge, it's a huge market. And our neighboring countries, their IT business is $180 billion. And we only do $4 billion, not even 3%, less than 3%. So wake up, guys, wake up. This for your time. Build those skills, get those jobs. And whether in some jobs you don't even need degree, or in degree on top of that you have skills, yeah, you got win-win. And right there, opportunities for you. Don't wait for the opportunity for come. It's there, but you're not seeing it. That's the issue. So what you need to be doing it, we're going to talk about the skill set, right? Top skill set, then you can also do your research. But I'm going to be telling you from business scenario, business example, where and what technologies are being used today. Even you are using it today, but you may not even thought about it. All right. So these are the some of the like platform as a service. So somebody is going on developing their databases and all that. We'll look into that. So that's platform as a service. You don't need infrastructure. Software as a service, like you use a Google email and Zoom. I'm using it now. You are using it now. You're watching at home. None of us has to invest a penny on the hardware other than our own devices. That's the software as a service. 20 years ago, it was terrible. It was terrible because I've seen it. Some of the projects I have worked in, we need to have Cisco, IP, telephony, video phone, bandwidth issues. Still, I heard somebody on the phone. So it's there. I mean, it's not every place is perfect. So there are issues. So with this, you don't need a data center. Otherwise, to run these videos, you need a data center, and service should not go down. Now have 50, 60 people. So you have to plan and calculate the bandwidth. So it's a lot of engineering you have to do. But today it's all SaaS. So one thing, those jobs are gone, right? So there's a transition. You don't want to be doing old things. So that's what happens in IT. That's what happens in medical science field. If you go talk to a doctor or dentist or some other people, advancement is happening everywhere. And now, good thing is that it's all depending on technology. So you can literally build your career whichever direction you want it to. And here comes the funny part. Tell me if you don't like it. Right? So you're sending the data in the cloud, right? You don't know where it's going. Well, that's not the case. That's what we are here for. That's what you will be telling the businesses, to the people. Hey, it's not the cloud. We'll come and tell you and explain to you, and we'll show you where the data is going. And that's what our job is. But every typical person, hey, we're just sending the data to the cloud. Let's move on. So before I move on, we can move on, and we're going to talk to these emerging technologies. So artificial intelligence, I'm sure everyone knows about it. But if I tell you that things existed long ago, and even people in Pakistan have been using it for the last 10 plus years or even 20 years. And then you may have a question then, how, why? Okay, so let me give you one example. Google search, web-based search, when I was there, I'd been using it. And now we have maps and we have ads, any application you can think of, pretty much web-based. Even you go for this today, these days, Amazon reseller is very hard in Pakistan, I guess. So when you go and shop and your suggested ads comes in, what is this? This is machine learning and AI, right? Google search why is dominating for the last 15, 20 years. Why? Because their algorithm is like that. GPS, if I go to the work or if I go to New York, it will tell you in the 6 a.m. it may take me 3 hours. 10 p.m. it will take me 45 minutes. Why? Because data is going into the cloud, is doing some intelligence from that machine, doing some intelligence and giving me that information, right? It makes sense, correct? So that's a very simple piece of example. And then the whole career you can build in. So of course, uh, I won't be able to covering each and every in depth of that, but you will be using one of those 3 or 4 cloud provider. And that's why from now onwards, every slide I will be talking about cloud computing, why it's related. Because without this cloud, you cannot do AI. You just can't do it. Whoever, even a PhD professor comes in, he would not even ask, but we can have an argument because that compute is not available. Google is built from the day first as a cloud company. So they already had their cloud long ago. GPS is cloud-based. So if you think you can have a 10, 100 servers, then you need a data center, hardware, all that $1 million investment you need. Nobody's going to do that. To make a product viable and to make product more consumer का जिसमें benefit है that you can do on a scalable level is through cloud, or then AI is part of that. So one research, you can Google it. I did not, but I heard it on a conference or maybe a webinar that how they're going to use it in the field of medical, जो कि doctor है, and accounting from I know from here. So let me give you 2 examples because that's what I promised. I'll give you some business. It will make more sense because you can always go and read it. So that's not me. Just give you the, that's kind of presentation. I don't do it. So what they did. So if you go, so if anybody who's a heart patient, what you do is their EKG or ECG. So, and then the doctor tells, and then if somebody's patient, then they visit every 3 months, 6 months, a year, I don't know. So they look at, so a doctor typically can have how many patients, कितने patient देखेगा एक दिन में? I believe 10, 20. And if he gives half an hour to a patient, for example, so he will, in an 8 hours, he can see at maximum 16 patients. Worst case, we say, okay, he's pretty smart. He does 20 patients a day. But guess what? That patient comes again. And then another patient comes again with the same symptoms, but he's going through the same process again. And the third patient, same process again. So what they did in UK, without revealing the personal information, because that is very important, a personal identification for privacy of a person, but they extracted the information from that, what I think they do X-ray, or maybe if I'm not wrong, but I don't, yeah. So I think they do X-ray or some sort of it to see how the heart looks like, and then EKG also tell you the data, and this is data basically. So they combined the data of pretty much 50,000 heart patients around the world. They did analysis and then came up there. If somebody has symptom, he's probably going to have this problem. His life duration is this. his chances of recovery is this. See, that's the power. That's where the company implement and use AI. And that's why you need cloud. You need tons of processing powers. And then you do security, encryption. Normal processing is just fail. So that's where you need to start looking. And that I'm sure you'll find in a lot of IEEE research paper if you want to go that level and see how what these international companies are. Because those research, when they do it, the companies like Microsoft, Cisco, I'm just saying this tech company, but there are like pharmaceutical, biotech, they invest the money. So you'll see those. And you just feel free to reach out, write them, email, hey, I read your article. Where can I find? Start making some networking with them. That's what I used to do it. And I made some good connection. It doesn't hurt. What's going to happen? You send email to 10 people, 2 will reply. It's success. It's better than nothing. Or you never know. Those 2 people will be you never know. It can be life changer or whatever. But you got to do that practice. Read it, make connection, network, ask them. If it doesn't work, go to second one, third one. But that's how you do it. And that you get to know a lot more. So, and same thing applies to the accounting because we do a lot of tax here. In US, all tax system goes based on that. So if I'm filing my tax for the last 10, 15 years, and if all of a sudden this thing happens, so many people here with COVID is different, but again, somebody goes out of business and does not file the tax, machine learning automatically say, hey, this pattern has changed. They do the red flag. And then the investigator look into that. That is a legitimate issue or not, then they go and visit. So they're very creative work. So there are opportunities. You can have your own startup and working on those kind of stuff. So there are a ton of opportunities. And then you need a cloud. Then you need security. Well, if something goes wrong, you'll be like this, right? So I just put it, and machine learning and AI, people just call you, hey, we want to be connected and all that. So that's another, but I don't care. But things happen, a scam, unnecessary call, cold calling and all that. So that also happened with AI and machine learning. People use and misuse. So just wanted to throw it out. Next, I think we're going to talk about this topic, which is very hot in Pakistan, I guess. Not here much, but even hot in the news due to COVID, people starting throwing those grids and all that stuff crazy, right? So I'll try to spend, but that's let's talk about it. We all hear 5G. Okay, what's the business? What's the implementation? How it's going to help our lives? We talk about, I don't know, 800 Mbps on mobile devices. So imagine how it will revolutionize the whole industry, because this is telco related. And the speed of internet, unbelievable. Like today I have FiOS at my home, but that FiOS is not available on my cell phone. But imagine it will be faster than FiOS in a couple of years. And video conferencing is the norm. So there are opportunities for telemedicine, teledentist, right? लोगों का डॉक्टर के पास अभी भी नहीं जा रहे कोविड में, they do, but they have some jittering. So that's a huge multi-million billion dollar industry there with 5G. So this technology, always you have to look for what other opportunity, what career, and how you can develop your career. So if you want to go that side of it, 5G, which I don't do much, but that's a telco. But still, there are opportunities on the software side as well because of the smart cars. In my opinion, smart cars are not successful because of a couple of reasons. One is they do not have a good judgment. Like for example, the car is driving, the human is in front of you, or it's an animal, or even it's a garbage bag. It cannot distinguish. It will just see as an object. It may hit, it may not hit. I don't know. So they are doing some research. I know some people and these kind of stuff they're dealing with. This kind of research, they do it on their self-drive testing car. But imagine why 5G is important. Because even if you go for any brand name car, Beamer or Benz and some other cars, they already have thousands of sensors in the car, and all data goes to the cloud. But that data is not life-threatening. Means if you have a car like Tesla, and if it's not 5G, but again, they are from some accidents. So its idea is that it should be connected on the 5G high-speed network so it can make decision. So your GPS will be automatically there. The car will make the decision and you're working in your car. That's a concept they're selling. But with today it's jittering, it's lag. If there is a 5-second, 15-second delay on the data, person will die in the car, right? There will be disaster on the highway if some car collides. So we are waiting. So some scenario, you definitely need to have, you gotta have this much high speed, and then you can build those. So there's a dependency, it will take time. But imagine for learning, like in Pakistan, I was thinking, okay, people do not have good internet. That's why online education has failed. Imagine somebody is there in the rural areas of Sindh or Balochistan. Everyone has mobile, but they do not have high-speed internet. Imagine if they have high-speed internet, education and तालीम can be everywhere, right? पूरे पाकिस्तान में आप दे सकते हो, free lecture दे दो गांव-गांव के अंदर, उनको उनकी local language में, उनको आप, you make them learn skilled information based on their environment, whatever, how to improve agriculture and all that. So that's kind of a technology is going to help. I hope it's helpful. But again, you still need 5G cloud. Why? Because you're collecting the data, you need to throw the data, then you can run AI, machine learning, and then you host it on a big data. So since I was talking about collecting the data, it comes the right topic, IoT. So if you have a handheld device, if you have a smartwatch in your hand, that's an IoT. Can anyone give me a good example of IoT? I think I'm just talking and I want to have something in the chat. And every answer is right. There's no right and wrong. What do you know about it? Give me like one example if you can, if possible. Give me an example. Hey, this is IoT. This is what I think is IoT, or this is, I'll give you like a minute. If not, then I can explain. Internet of Things. Don't Google it. As I said, there's no right and wrong. Have we got something? Okay, chat. I don't think so. So, okay, smart fridge from Kashif. Smart home. See? Yeah, awesome. Love it. I love it. Cool. Smart agriculture farm meeting. Our meeting now. Our meeting, maybe yes and no. But as I said, there is no right and wrong. Everything is correct. And this meeting can also be sort of an IoT because if I'm using my device, so you're right. Smart grid, connect my devices. Yeah, perfect, right? So you already have the idea about IoT. Another idea of IoT is about health industrial. So I just wanted to add, because you never know, you may be working, or you may not work on a startup, you may not work for a company who's building that, but that's very common here, is senior citizen. So senior citizen ka kya hota hai yahan pe, right? When usually they live senior citizen houses, or parents, that's the culture here in Gora families. So their parents, they live to those assisted family and all that. So
I have a question.
Go ahead.
It's not an example related to IoT, but there's this term जो कि बहुत common है आजकल यहाँ पे भी. There's one thing, Internet of Things, and the other thing is Internet of Autonomous Things. So can you differentiate between that?
Really having very difficulty. You differentiate in what?
एक चीज होती है Internet of Things, that we all know, but there's this new term जो सुनने में आ रही है बहुत ज़्यादा, that is Internet of Autonomous Things.
Autonomous.
Yes.
I'll try. Okay. So autonomous, I would think of it just autonomous car, right? Maybe you can Google it, and because the way I look at it is, because that's Internet of Things we have seen is statical, and autonomous, I can give an example of a car or real-time things. But that's, again, I don't want to give you an answer and which happens to be, so just Google it. But it will depend more on a real-time data feed and in an IoT scenario. But there are autonomous and automation is a different area. But that's, yeah, so I don't want to go further on that. I hope, but again, can it take it? Maybe if you need more granular details, say reach out to Rafi, or I can share some documents around that if you do not find on Google. So going back to the topic, health industry I was talking about, right? So if you have any handle devices, a smartwatch, Apple Watch, or some Samsung or whatever, they usually are able to monitor, I believe, your blood sugar and your heartbeat. So my watch I'm wearing now knows my everyday heartbeat. So for some reason, and when I run, it also, so it's keeping the data, but that data is not stored here. It's going again in Apple's cloud. And then what happens if I run, if I do exercise, it gives me weekly summary that you walked or you ran 3 miles a day, but on the weekend, if I running 5 miles, sometime 2 miles, then it give me a report for a whole week and even for a month. So that calculation is coming from AI and machine learning model from the cloud, Apple cloud, collecting the data from IoT. You know what I mean? They're all connected, but there are jobs. I mean, you will have a job. IoT is a webcam. I have a security camera at my home, IP security camera, Wi-Fi. I configure it, but that's an IoT. I have 10 cameras, for example, then 10 IoT devices. So you develop a web OS for that device, and then whenever some object moves, it triggers and it's collecting the data, recording video and all that, right? So that's an IoT example. Handle devices or smartwatch, IoT devices. Now collecting the data, going in the cloud, ton of data. This is big data. Then you store in a data lake or HD Insight. So big data is example, just like we go to the rigs, oil rigs, and extract and make it petrol or gas. We call it gas. Petrol. So we refine it. So big data is raw. You refine it and make it usable for people, right? So that's the same thing. This all data goes to the cloud, big data, and then you need scientists, data scientists, PhD. You don't have to be PhD today, to be honest. You just need the skills. And then you can run those models because machine is learning. Now you have to do machine teaching or machine learning and AI. With those AI, you extract your meaningful data and then you want to leverage that. Okay, what is the value proposition for a business, for consumer and all that? So that's the thing. They're all collected, and this is only possible with cloud. And I'll tell you later at the end about the cloud, but it's all cloud. These jobs didn't exist before it. I'll be very concerned. The demand in the job has been started in the last 5 years, and the market has changed. I don't know how young you were, 2007, 8, and BlackBerry was like kicked out of the market. It's gone, and Apple picked it up with iPhone. And I was there, and I still remember talking to my friends. I told them this will be revolutionize the whole market. BlackBerry will just disappear. And guess what? iOS and mobile app device or mobile app or mobile industry itself, you Google it, I think it's, I don't know, 7 billion or even more than that $1 billion industry just for the development of the mobile programming. That's what I'm saying. So it's a huge, this market didn't even exist. And now because of that, so many market exist. Digital media marketing, social marketing, ads, everything. It didn't exist so fast. So it took pretty much 10 years. Now for the next thing to coming up, it won't take next year, 10 years. It will be 7 years, maybe, or 6 years. We don't know because the nature of the technology we live is so fast. So that's why IoT is very important, especially everywhere, in the cars, in devices, everywhere. It doesn't matter, Pakistan or US or whatever the country is. So that's there. And and there are so many branches you can work on in Azure, in AWS or Google. when you go there, so as I told you, you have a big data, you have AI, machine learning model, and you have security, and you have IoT security, because data cannot be clear text, it's got to be encrypted, security certificates, and blah, blah, blah. I can go and on. That's my specialization in cybersecurity, information security. So I deal a lot with those new technologies. So that's there. You just there. So it's a huge. So that's, if I were to say 5G is telco. So I'm not from telco, but this is another. So AI, 5G, and IoT so far is hot. There are jobs everywhere. It may not be in Pakistan, but there are remote jobs. If you're planning to migrate to a country, there are jobs. And these jobs will come also in Pakistan, because also you need developers to make OS and everything. The next thing I was going to go to serverless computing. Who knows about serverless? Anyone? Any idea about serverless? Anyone? You got a minute? Can you open a chat for our viewers?
Yes, sir, we provide chat. Now anyone
Yeah,
participants can.
yeah. As I said before, don't Google it. Whatever comes to your mind. There is no right and wrong. I mean it. Serverless, simple. Just give me simple. Keep going. Every question is right. All right, keep up. Okay, I'm getting there. Okay, serverless is cloud-based data storage. Keep going. Don't Google it. I want a realistic answer, because I'm not. Okay. So individual and cloud computing. So, okay, well, yeah, I think I'm good now. You can close the chat if you want it. So serverless, some people came up with decentralized, pay as you go, individual. Somebody said nothing, right? So I would say all answers sort of right. I don't want to say wrong, because everyone has a perception. Cloud is the pay as you go model. So yeah, makes sense, but may not be. As I said, there's no right and wrong, but you're thinking in the right direction. That's a good thing. You're thinking like a cloud. So that makes sense. Decentralized, more close definition. Yeah, it's the decentralized. Nothing I can talk about it. It is a cloud storage. Yeah. So imagine serverless. Let me give you an example. So whatever you have to have an application, you need a server. You need to, let's say if you need to develop an Android app, or you need to develop iOS, right? You will need a backend server, front end, programming, blah, blah, blah. And then you host it in Apache or somewhere in the cloud. So you need a VM, or you need a server basically, where you're going to host your application. So serverless computing came after cloud, but it is based on cloud, and it came 4 or 5 years ago. What happens, there are benefits, and what happens is that, let's say you have your iPhone, you have 4 different applications, and guess what? They happens to be from same publisher. Let's say you have 4 Apple application, or best example, Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp. They're all from Facebook. Let's do this. So publisher probably same, because the parent company is same. But for this platform, I'm just giving an example. I don't know how their architecture is, but for the sake of serverless. So Facebook running on one server, for example, WhatsApp and Instagram. But when it comes to serverless, they're not server. So it's a huge server farm. And you create those service-based servers. So you don't really care what's underlying hardware. You don't really care what underlying even an operating system. So they're serverless, as it says. You don't need to know as an application guy, application developer. You need to run your service. So you go with the serverless model, regardless whatever is underlying operating system, Linux, Unix, Windows, right? So that's what you do with the serverless. That's the concept. Now, what are the benefits? That's very important. That's why it is revolutionizing. So if I have to give an environment to my developers for the application, I remember 20, yeah, not even 20, but like in the past, 8, 10 years ago, whichever, you ask the developers and they say, we need this server, this specification, all that. And now it doesn't work anymore. You tell them, go to the cloud and do it. The benefit is when you go to the traditional model, because of internet security threat, and those servers need an upgrade every 3 to 5 years, you have to update the operating system, patches, security, firewall. It's a pain in the neck. So you don't need to worry about anything with cloud. You just focus. So even if I'm an app dev company, I'll go with this model. I'll hire the guys, get them done. I don't care about the operating system patches and all that. That's one benefit. And the next one I'm going to tell you also is very important, is related to CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous development. What happens if my application has a bug? I'm not going to patch it. So this is my existing production. This is and it happens to have some bug. So I'm not going to apply the bug in real time and cause a downtime. I have another replica of that, and I'll move it up. I mean, I will just cut it over from here to here. That's it. So that's the serverless model. You don't have to depend on that. And it's very quick. It's huge in demand. And across which cloud provider you use, you just need the tools, programming tools, let's say automation tools to work on that. Oh, yeah, that's me, right? We talk about data, machine learning, and all that stuff, and you're solving much a smaller problem with too many big things. We go so much into the weeds, and we were like, oh, yeah. So I just wanted to put it there. Don't be that guy. Don't be that person, right? Still, technology is on us. We can teach the technology, those kind of things. So with that, I'm going towards natural processing, natural language processing. So I don't do much, but again, it's in heart. And the reason is that all our providers have their services like Alexa, Cortana from Microsoft, Windows 10, and Google. I'm not sure what's the name, but Google is pretty in demand also. So natural language processing is another area. And biggest challenge we had when we've seen, it's not something new, is because of cloud, things are changing, that compute power, those natural language binaries and libraries available, which can translate, like I'm doing in English. And if you want, you can have everything, my voice to be translated in Urdu, in Arabic, and whatever the language. Is piece of cake today, because you have technology there as long as you know how to do it. Before, it was a nightmare. That was very difficult. So yeah, so that's another growing area. Market's good. Again, you need to know one of those cloud, leverage those libraries, start working on this, doesn't matter, right? And as it says, AI, artificial intelligence, it has text to speed and all that. Yeah, so you probably much have seen these even on your phone, right? So nothing crazy here, but it's demanding, and it will keep growing because natural processing all goes voice. For us, like, you guys are natively mobile. If you go to your parents, they are not. You have to teach them. The next generation coming is all video and audio. They would not even type it. That's what people say, but I hate it. So, but that's what I'm trying to explain here. All right. Blockchain. I know some people are like, okay, we want this thing to be in Pakistan, right? But it's not working. But even any part of the world, there are different options. So blockchain is another area, but blockchain will not work, in my opinion. It has to be governed, and it has to be regularized by the bank, a state bank. Like here, or we have federals. You cannot just leave it and start making your money, so there is no control and nobody can watch it. I don't think so it's going to happen. Even your internet is being watched, right? Whatever you're doing on internet and all that. and people make money also from the data, from cookies, right? All that stuff. So with the blockchain, they want to make sure who's sending money where. So that's happening. It will happen. But again, that's also because of the cloud. You need computing power. I know one of my cousin, he spent like 7,000-8,000 for the Bitcoin. He bought the machines. I don't know what the rate of Bitcoin today. I didn't invest in that. But people start mining their currency as well. So eventually it will work with controls. You cannot just have things in people's hand. What happened in a uncontrolled area, riots, and these things happen. Same thing in the money, this thing will happen. So that's to avoid the global economy. There are challenges because technology is so advanced, and the people are there. They're not like you and me, like who are on top of the technology. They're like people, okay, they don't even know how to write blockchain, for example. I'm just saying. So there are all major providers. They have their support. I forgot the name. I was pretty much looking into last year in blockchains, but yeah, for the last few months, I stopped following that. Even I bought, and I know how the process works. You transfer it, you have a trader account or some online account, you go in there, you put your dollar, you buy those money, and you can literally transfer fraction of that. But here, very strict. I have to give my driving license, my address, identity has to be proven. They take my picture, and then my account gets open because there is no room for such thing here in US. And then if I'm transferring, they can still track my data or today. But if I go to another country from there, yeah, they may not be able to. So those are the gaps there. But again, with the blockchain, you can start working on that. Even Microsoft platform. I don't know about Google or AWS, but you can look at it. And then, yeah, so that's another area. You can start integrating those stuff into your application or something like that. So these like are the areas. So pretty much that was the sixth topic if you're counting. But yeah, but if you look at this, the common thing in all of them is cloud. And now I'll explain you why cloud, and then we'll open the floor for questionnaire. I hope you're not bored. Before we go into the cloud, I want to share one more. That's not a technology, but that's a growing area. Yeah, that's not fishing. Okay, so I don't want you to go outside neti jeti ke pull pe and fishing karna shuru kar di. No, that's not fishing. We are talking about phishing, email phishing. Okay, they pronounce the same, but they're written differently. And not many people maybe knowing in Pakistan. I don't know those who are into the technology industries. Other than that, 89, even more than 90% people don't have any clue on that. So. But yeah, though in the tech sector, of course, but even in the tech sector, even in the US, yeah, not everyone knows. So don't even think about it. So it's new, but it's not new. Basically, it's new in a career cyber threat. So there are like 660% increase in phishing emails or cyber threat, for example, since the COVID happened in the last 3 months. And we have our teams who work into that. I work with them. We have a 24/7 operations. There are tools available and how you have to protect your environment, whether it's a cloud or on premises in the data center. So that's there. So that's not a technology. That's a cyber security, information security, or cloud security is hot area from the job market. It's growing because whenever you need a cloud, that they will definitely need a or a person who has cloud knowledge from security point of view, right? So cloud, there are so many jobs. So you need somebody who knows security side of it, and they will bring on board, not in 3 months, 6 months. Definitely you'll see it happening in a couple of years. But what I'm talking about is there. I've been doing cloud for the last 8-10 years, and people getting to know there in Pakistan now, right? We are not going there, but I'm saying, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm saying, yeah, these things are coming. You will see it. Security is important. Why? Well, why not? You go to the cloud. So you all use pretty much Zoom bombing you must have heard of. So I don't have to go and explain. Until you want to, I can talk about how, and then Gmail. Now, I don't know, none of, I can tell you, none of you are using multi-factor authentication, which is a mobile authenticator app, which asks you to put a password when you log into your email. This is the very first step in cloud security. That's what I tell everyone here, do it. Even my account got hacked in the past. So for Gmail account, I don't care. But if it's a business account, if I do not have second form of authentication, you are in a big trouble. I do not have a diagram here, but again, usually you're not in the cloud. So imagine this area is your data center and this is the internet. So somebody is hitting your database and everything, they has to go through the layer of firewalls. As soon as you go to the cloud, there is no layer of firewall by default. It's all services. So in that, you do not protect on the network layer. You protect, which is called identity and access protection. So I delivered a couple of seminars here in Chamber of Commerce, a couple of them, one there, and also spoke to Microsoft Virtual Marathon, where it had 14,000 people across the world. I delivered a lecture there that how do you protect your security in the cloud? There's a whole different mindset. You're not talking about traditional, it's identity. How do you protect your identity? So identity needs multi-layer of authentication, which is MFA. Your identity has to be logged based on the country. If my company do not have any business in Pakistan, I will only allow login from US only, for example. So, or different countries, different apps, right? If I have, for example, particular apps, so I will approve those apps, and without those. So there are like best practices. I published my article also in Microsoft the technical community last month, and I talk about all those 7 important things you can do. So those are the area also in security. So that's not technology what I meant, but this is another area. When you're building your skills, start looking on that. So you have to make sure you make yourself market ready. And you can pick and choose whatever the cloud you like. Start with one, don't think too much which cloud is better or not. They're all good. If you go on Google, if you read about it, their data center sizes are as big as Karachi Major National Stadium, as big as that, or even bigger. They spend billions of dollars for what? So they are all good, Google, Microsoft, or AWS. They're all, it depends where you wanted to start your career, what kind of companies are there, what kind of cloud they are leveraging, or if they ask you as an expert advice, build your skill in one of them, tell them, hey, this is what it is, and that's what I like it. If they say, did you compare with them? No, I did not, because I was just focusing. So the different ways, those are the like what you say in the interviews, but start building, start learning on one area. And I'm just wrapping it up. You can always open for the chat or voice while I'm just at the end of the slide. Cloud computing and all the delivery models. So that's there. We will not be able to cover it, but in the future, I ask IEEE section if they want to set up some similar more seminar. You say, I'm offering, if you become IEEE registered member, I'll volunteer myself. I'll deliver more in-depth technical seminar, which can help you to grow your career in cloud and even get you to the point very close to cloud certification. I can guide you. But as I said, I love IEEE. It has helped me in my career, big time. One in international conference, also in Dubai, also, right? So yeah, and also IEEE office is just like half an hour from my house, so that's not that far. But there is a value, and now computer society and all that, they have evolved. So you need to make your network. You need to work on these events, physical, if not possible, virtual. There's a lot also depend on the networking. You need to network with the people. You need to grow that, and always ask. Always try to learn from the people. I'm not an expert. I'll learn, right? Everybody has a different opinion. So make that practice. Get out of you. You don't have any ego. If you go to 50-year Buddha in a university, or for that university, in a private company, they have an ego. Hey, I have 30 years of experience and you're coming and explaining me cloud. Okay, show me how to build a VM. Or show me how to create an ID in the cloud. No, they can't. So at that time, your 30 years experience is gone. But I'm not saying do not respect them. They have their, so then you have cloud, then you transition. So this is where you need their experience, your experience, combine them, then make a success. That's how it works. So everyone has their importance, of their experience and everything. It's changing, it's transitioning. So they have their values, because if you even go to the banks, they're still running 20 years old system. So it doesn't mean because they just migrated, their system does not support it, it will fail it, the bank will lose millions of dollars every day. You don't want to be that kind of a guy, right? So you need to find a balance. Now, with that being said, there are some definitions. I'm not going to put it. And then if you need to reach out, whatever. I love traveling. This is one of the, I was in Lisbon, Portugal. Yeah, that's picture taken from my cell phone. And you can find it about myself. And we are open to questionnaire for 5-10 minutes, whichever time I have. I think 10 minutes, I guess. Any questions? If there are no questions, then even I was so boring, or you guys know everything. No questions? Wow.
Hello, sir.
Yes, go.
Participants, please you can raise your hands if you have any questions. Due to the security settings, I wasn't able to unmute my mic, sir. Sorry about that. Okay. Do we have any questions? Yes, Taha Noor has a question. Host, can you please unmute him?
So,
Yes.
what's the relation between swarm intelligence and artificial intelligence?
Which one?
Please repeat your question. Can you please unmute her?
I believe she said storm intelligence
Swarm
and.
intelligence and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I don't know about storm intelligence. No idea. I'm sorry.
Okay. Do we have any other questions
So,
over
I
here?
said relationship between swarm intelligence and artificial intelligence. What is the relationship between them?
Storm intelligence. Yeah, I don't know. I have not heard it. I don't know.
Okay. If you have any more questions, please raise your hand.
Or I will ask
You can
the.
type them. Yes. Yes, sure, definitely. You can also type the questions in the chat box and we'll read them out to you. Yes, Aisha Saeed. Host, can you please unmute her?
Sir, there's not really a question. This is actually not my question. It's a question that was sent, I think, in the chat.
Aisha, your voice is inaudible. Can you please be louder?
Is it audible now?
Yes, yes. Go forward.
Okay. Sir, there's this concept, not a concept, but I think a misconception. When we talk about cloud, we usually assume that there might be a saturation point to it, like every other storage does. So is it like applicable that cloud computing has a storage point, or whatever information we push into the cloud has a saturation point, or is it unlimited? Like we have no saturation point.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so it's unlimited. That's the nature of cloud. That's I said, if IEEE ever interested, we can talk about it. What cloud computing is, because it's highly scalable. It's elastic in nature, and there are even different type of storage: blob storage, file storage. So you can have a separate storage for media, audio, and video. You can have a separate storage just for text file. You have a separate storage for databases. So yeah, if you're starting a career, if you work for a big enough company, large enterprise, they will hire you just for that capacity. Or if you're developing your application, and then your application is about YouTube video, for example, so you don't want to store your video in a file storage, like text file, you know what I mean? So there is a different storage for that. Same thing for Word documents and all that. So then you go with the pricing, what kind of storage, because latency and transactionals and IOs. So yes, so answer is there is nothing called saturation or limitation in cloud. No, it's all unlimited. It always keep on growing no matter what.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have another question from Mohammed Asad Khan. Host, please unmute him. Mike, yes. Please go ahead.
My question is that there are different. Uh, excuse me, is my voice is hearable?
Yes, yes, it is inaudible.
My question is that there are different IEEE membership opportunities. So which one membership should we focus as a student that gives us more opportunities? And my second question is that there are different grants of IEEE. So if we want to focus on a grant as a team, so should we go for it? And in which grant if, to make technology products?
I'll defer this question to Rafi and his team. But only one thing I want to add here, if you are into computer science, be part of computer chapter or computer society, but I'll defer for the grant and everything to Rafi and his team.
Yes, please unmute Rafique. Rafique, please go ahead and explain about Computer Society Technical Chapter in IEEE. Host, can you please unmute Rafique? Our SSR of IEEE Karachi section.
Please, just 1 minute.
Or something we can take it offline because we have somebody, Mohsen, have a question.
Meanwhile, a section member, Dr. Shahab Siddiqui, with us. Please unmute him, and he can go forward. It is an honor to have you with us, sir.
Thank you very much. I was listening the talk given by Adnan Rafique, and there were two questions there from the students. One is for swarm intelligence. It's a algorithm based on artificial intelligence. What Adnan was referring was the hardware of IoT or sensors of IoT. So programming of IoT or intelligence behind the IoT is within swarm intelligence and artificial intelligence. One of the replies that. Another reply for the IEEE question is you have to join as IEEE student, then you upgrade yourself to MS and PhD, then you will become graduate student member. The fees would be the same, $27. For funding opportunity, you have to apply for that particular fund with your proper budget, and the proposal form should be filled extensively with the support of your supervisor and other relevant faculty members. Then you can achieve funding of maybe of $20,000 or $1,000. It's there are funding of $20,000, which means you will get around 30 lakh rupees within this time period. And you can have a small funding of $500 or $1,000 if your project is of small nature. Then you can get that particular reference. It's depend on your proposal strength. So that was the reply what I want to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Shah, for your kind words. It's honorable for us.
Yeah, that information was helpful about Swarm. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Now, moving forward, we have a question from Muhammad Ali Haider. Host, can you please unmute him?
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Sir, my question is that how can we as end users or as consumers develop the community for IoT, influence the development of community in IoT?
Well, you have this amazing platform, IEEE. So I'll tell you the challenges. What I've seen over the year running these communities here in the US and Dubai and everywhere, even in Pakistan. Challenge are two or three. First, of course, you start yourself, then you find like-minded people. So you need to have your user base. It could be any number of people. Then if it's really adding a value, people will be attracted automatically. And then if you want to go to the next level, in my opinion, what I would do is reach out to local vendor hardware, software house, depending, as the doctor said, there are two sides of it, programming and the hardware, and look for sponsorship. So initially they may not, or they will just host your event. So when you start developing the culture, hey, you are educating, and then you can always be, if you do it on a platform like IEEE, it reduce or removes most of the barriers, because you're going with a brand name, you're going with a trusted name in the industry. That helps a lot. And then you can leverage their services, and especially these days, audio visual technology available. You can bring speakers, experts. So you're providing those value add from that particular domain. And you can also invite speakers who are working on that. So you can combine, and that's how you can start developing a culture, and people will start liking, hey, yeah, this is something is, and I think that's a good idea. You should start. I mean, something does not exist in Pakistan. Yeah, I mean, don't wait to start it.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we had one more question from Mohsin Ali. It's quite unfortunate that I missed you. Please, host, can you please unmute him?
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Yes.
Sir, am I audible to you? Sir, I have a question about the VLC. Do you have any idea about VLC, Visible Light Based Communication?
Real? I don't know. Say it again.
Visible Light Based Communication, VLC.
No idea. I have no idea. You're talking too advanced. I don't know.
Oh, okay, sir. No problem.
Thank you very much, Mohsin. Actually, what you're talking about is another hardware electronic side. So what we are talking about here is related to cloud computing and intelligent systems. So we'll have another session to address your, it is quite an interesting topic. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Let me just see if we have any more questions in the chat.
Yep.
No. So let's move up to the winding up the session. I would like Rafi to give his remarks.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for your talk. It was very informative, very inspiring, and quite influential. It has been an honor to have you with us. We are very grateful for your time, your efforts in making the presentation, and also special thanks for reaching out, the inspiring the student community of Pakistan, that is Student Activities Committee, IEEE Karachi section. Also, thank you so much for all the participants. We have had a massive response in terms of registration and participation. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much.
It's just an absolute pleasure, as I said, and whatever I can do to help this culture to go to the next level in Pakistan, as I said, if you guys are interested, we can cover more deep dive session on cloud.
Yes, sir.
And also develop that community culture, because you can literally produce more subject matter expert and leaders, and eventually it's going to help them in the career. End of the day, you want to build your career, right? So those who are members, of course, it can add more value, and also to the new people, because you need to have that. When you start building that culture, people see the value, and there is no reason why not, because you go along with the studies and everything. Even after the studies, you're part of that, you start building that networking. As I was telling you, networking is very, very important. Many students, they get graduated and they don't see each other, right? But with this technology, audio, video today, it doesn't matter where you live. It's one of those things which plays in significant role going forward in your career. That's I just want to say. And again, it's an awesome opportunity for me to speak to you guys.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I have a little something prepared for you. Rafi, if you can put it up.
I would request Abdul Rahman to please give me an access of screen sharing.
Let me just stop sharing myself. Okay, already.
Abdul Rahman, give the access to
yes,
Rafi.
Okay.
Now, Rafi, you can share.
Yes, wait a moment. Is it showing
Yes, yes.
perfectly?
It's showing.
Okay.
Please say it. Okay. On behalf of all the participants here and our entire organizing body, we would like to humbly thank you, sir, for joining us today and for giving us your time. It was truly an honor for us. Thank you so much.
Wow, nice. Thank you. I like it. No,
Thank
as
you
I
so
said,
much,
you
sir.
know, yeah, I've been there, so always.
And we hope that we'll invite you once again and you would honor our invitation. We'd
Sure.
like to keep learning from you. So let's keep connected.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you again. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, now we would also like to thank our participants for joining us today and showing interest in our event. Thank you so much for your continued support. As we explained before, we will share a quiz link with all of you. And by attempting that, you will be eligible to receive your certificate. Now, once again, thank you very much. And I'd like to hand over the control to Rafi to end the session formally.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so
Yep.
much, everyone who have joined this session. Very informative session.
All right. Thank you again.
Sure.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Allah Hafiz.